S.S.S. Emor, Tavshin Ayin Ches. This week, we have a very, very interesting part of the Parsha. And the Parsha speaks about the Yom Tovim that we celebrate during the year. And today happens to have been one of the, like we like to call it, secondary Yom Tovim. Today was Lag BaOmer. We just passed it, as some of the people here mentioned. It's still Lag BaOmer in Los Angeles. Other parts of the country where we definitely know that we have people that listen to and watch this year every week, and we very much appreciate it. So now we get into S.S.S. and we're talking about the Yom Tovim, and the Psukim say as follows: Daber b'nei Yisrael v'yamarto alehem, speak to Klal Yisrael and let them know that Moyadei Hashem asher tikru'u oisam mikroi kodesh elehem moyadoi. These are the Yom Tovim that you should celebrate. And the very next pasuk starts in a very interesting way. The pasuk tells us, Sheishes yomim te'aseh malacha. For 6 days you do malacha. U'bayom hashvi Shabbos Shabbos. The 7th day of the week is Shabbos. So right away, when the Torah begins to tell us about the Yom Tovim, so you would think that we would start talking about the Yom Tovim. But no, the Torah right away connects it to Shabbos. And it starts the Parsha of the Yom Tovim speaking about Shabbos. So there must be a very great significance to the fact that the Torah does this. We say in the Tfilos of Shabbos, in the Shmoneh Esrei, you're all familiar with this, we say, Am Mekadeshei Shvi, that we are the nation being Klal Yisrael, Am Mikadeshei Shavi. We are a nation, and those of you who know what the translation means in the Shmoneh Esrei, and it's actually kedai to think about it sometimes, even if you don't have your interlinear siddur, which is very helpful, but we are the nation, Mikadeshei Shavi. We sanctify, we make holy Shavi, the 7th day of the week, the Shabbos. And it continues, Kulam Yisbu v'yisandu mituvecha. That we're a nation that sanctifies the 7th day, the Shabbos, and we become satiated and we delight with its goodness. And these are the things that we get out of Shabbos Kodesh. And the Nesivos Shalom brings a very, very interesting question from a previous Shalom Rebbe, and he asks on this tefillah, what does Am Mikadeshei Shavi mean? I mean, isn't Shabbos, we know, Parshas Bereshis, we say it in Kiddush every Friday night, Vayivorech Elokim es Yom HaShvi'i Vayikadesh Oisai, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed Yom HaShvi'i, the Shabbos, Vayikadesh Oisai, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who sanctified the day of Shabbos. So how do we go ahead and say in the Shmoneh Esrei, Am Mikadeshei Shvi, that we are the nation who makes the Shabbos holy if we know that the Shabbos was already that way because Hashem made it holy? And what does it mean that we are the nation that goes ahead and does that job and makes the Shabbos holy? Also, on the next part of the tefillah says, Kulam Yisbu v'yizangu mituvecha. So let me ask you a question. What's the order? How does it work? Does somebody first enjoy something and then become satiated with it? Or do you become satiated and you enjoy? Of course, first you enjoy something and then you become satiated from the goodness. So how come the tefillah says, Kulam Yisbu, we are satiated, we are full from the joy of Shabbos, then these Angu mituvecha. It seems to be in the opposite order of which we would normally go about things. And to this question, Nesivos Shalom gives a beautiful answer with a phenomenal insight that's really, really kedai for every one of us to know. And he says like this: imagine a person who is absolutely famished. A person, he is famished to the point where they feel that if they don't have a piece of food right now, they could die. You're that hungry, you haven't eaten in 2 days, and you must have a piece of food right now. So let me ask you a question. Does it make an iota of a difference? Does it make any difference to this person at all if they have a slice of bread or a fancy smorgasbord, a fancy delicacy? And of course the answer is very obvious. Absolutely not. If a person is starved and you need a piece of food, so that vastly outweighs even a thought of any luxury, even a thought of any extra, because your mind, your life, and your soul need satiation right now. You need it this second, and it absolutely makes no difference at all to you what you're going to have. And of course you'll be very, very happy with any piece of bread, with any cracker. You need absolutely nothing fancy. Everything else becomes secondary when you're desperate for something. Once you've had some food, once you had something, so now you can start seeing the differences between one type of food and the other. Once you already broke your fast, once you already had something to take away that desperation. And the Nesivos Shalom says like this: when Hashem gave us the Shabbos, originally, the Shabbos represents Emunah. The Pasuk tells us that within the Shabbos, Lodas, from the Shabbos you'll come to know, Ki ani Hashem Mekadishchem. Shabbos is all about Emunah. And Emunah is the foundation of everything. And Emunah, being that it's the foundation of everything, it's the nutrition that our nefesh is starving for. When a Jew is born, you may not always know that you feel it, but your neshama, your nefesh, is starving for Emunah. So by Shabbos, which represents Emunah, we say, Kulam Yisba'u first. First you're satiated because your nefesh, your neshama is crying out so much for that emunah that the first thing you need to do is you don't need anything fancy. You don't need the tanugim. You don't need the yisangu mituvecha. What you need is just kulam yisbu. We need something to eat. We need some of that emunah. And when Hashem gave the Shabbos, He was satiating that desire that every Jew has for emunah, and He gave that to us. So first we're satiated, and once we're satiated, we move on to the Yom Tovim. We move on to the delicacies. We move on to the Pesach and the Sukkot and the Rosh Hashanah and the Shavuos, which is coming up. We come to all those things. So therefore, we say in the Tefillah, Kulam Yisba'u v'Yisangu, and that's our pasuk. The pasuk in our parsha, Moyadei Hashem. We're going to talk about the Yom Tovim, but the first thing we talk about right away is Shabbos. Sheishes Yomim Te'asem Malacho v'Yom Hashvi Shabbos. The seventh day is Shabbos because it's a prerequisite that before we talk about the Yom Tovim, we need to satiate our emunah. We need to have that dose of what we have to fill that void before we move on to anything else. And of course we have an oinig on Shabbos that we provide also. It's not that only HaKadosh Baruch Hu provided the oinig of Shabbos, that the yisbu'u of Shabbos was the emunah. Hashem gave that to us. But there's also the oinig of Shabbos, of the karosel of Shabbos oinig. That once Hashem gave us the emunah, where we add kedusha to the emunah that Hashem already gave us. Therefore, we are am mikadeshei shavi. Yes, it's true, of course. Hashem gave us the Shabbos, and Hashem made the Shabbos kodesh by giving us the emunah. But we are still am mikadeshei shavi. When we come to every Shabbos, we have a big job to do. We add more kedusha to the Shabbos. Although the Shabbos is full of kedusha, we add a lot more. So yes, Hashem gave us the inherent kedusha of Shabbos with the emunah, but we have a job to add more kedusha to every Shabbos. So the parsha of the Mayados, like we mentioned, begins with Shabbos because Shabbos is the basis of all the Yom Tovim, because due to the fact that it represents emunah. And then comes the Yom Tovim, which represent Avas Hashem, Yiras Hashem, Tiferes, what each Yom Tov represents, but that comes after. And really, the lesson for us is that we need to keep focused. Sometimes, and we say this all the time, that we come to a Shabbos and we forget what Shabbos is about. We forget how we are supposed to delight in what? Delight in the emunah, that we feel so much hakaras hatov to Hashem, that He gave us the Shabbos, that He treated us and imbued us with this emunah. Because our nefesh, we need to know what we're really starving for. We're not necessarily starving for the cholent and the kegel and the dips and all the gishmaka stuff that we have on Shabbos. That's for the karasal Shabbos einek. The learning on Shabbos, the way we act on Shabbos, how we do einek Shabbos, that is, of course, that's the einek that we add on. That's when we become the Am Mekadeshei Shvi. But we know and we understand from today's shir that that only comes on top of what Hashem already gave us. That we have to keep our focus, understand how holy the Shabbos is and why it's holy, and how it's incumbent upon every one of us to approach the Shabbos and add our own tainig, which means to add our own kedusha to the Shabbos, and through that we have the entire entity that we know as Shabbos Kodesh. And that is why the Parsha of the Yom Tovim begins with the Shabbos Kodesh.